Aloha and welcome back to Increase the Peace in Quarantine. 7 days to focus on building the immune system while promoting peace and healing in the body. My name's Franca, and as you can see, I dressed up for you today. I even washed my hair. Just kidding. It's been a really amazing, beautiful day. So amazing that we went to the beach. It was so hot, worked in the yard. We're having our neighbors come over for dinner, and we're going to be sitting outside at least 6 feet away, and we're going to have a lovely meal. And I didn't have time to do anything other than throw my hair up. So it's a good thing you're not so close to where you can smell me. So lucky you. Here we are. Today, I'm really excited because we are going to be talking about trigger points, body mechanics, and the postural exercise. It's going to be pretty condensed. I can talk about this a whole lot, but I just want to keep it as simple as possible. So first, I just want to say I hope you're having a beautiful Saturday, and I hope everyone's staying healthy. I always say at the end, stay healthy, stay fearless, and stay in gratitude, because I think it's important to stay healthy and choose what we eat, choose what we think, make those conscious choices. I think it's important to stay fearless. So what I mean by that is to truly not walk through life with fear. Fear is going to come up, and it's all about how we handle it. And if we walk around with fear, it is such a really sad way to live, almost like a slow death, I call it. So face our fears and go for it. And we might as well learn, because there's no sense in holding back. Life is a gift. We might as well make the best of it. And stay in gratitude. As you could hear my talk yesterday about being grateful allows so much room for love to come in. So I think staying in gratitude, it's easy to take every moment as a gift and not take things for granted. So on that note, we're going to go right into trigger points, and I encourage you to just go for it. And I'm going to first tell you a little bit about trigger points. It is an area in the body, in the muscle, in the soft tissue that gets so tired, so stressed out, it's as though it sends pain to a different part of the body. Muscles can only take so much, and basically when you find these trigger points in a muscle, and we're going to attack the levator scapula, it's the shoulder shrugger. When these muscles start to refer pain, it can cause migraine headaches, neck stiffness, it can decrease our range of motion, it can cause a lot of problems. So the levator scapula is what we're going to talk about tonight, or today. This is the levator scapula, the shoulder shrugger. And in order to assess that, you would take your fingers on your right hand, cross over, and you're going to literally take the finger pads and gently make sure the shoulder is nice and relaxed. If it's contracted, you won't have success. It really needs to be soft, not contracted at all, because then your muscle is pliable and you can manipulate it. So you're going to close your eyes, because taking one sensory away increases the other. So your feeling is going to be increased. And just go ahead and move your fingers around as if you were pressing down into the tissue. And if you find a point that is super tender, stay there. Let your fingers sink in. We're going to talk about a pain scale, 1 to 10, 10 being the highest amount of pain, a 7, 8 being, oh my goodness, that 7 is holy guacamole. that is a very tight spot. It's intense, but I can breathe through it and I can keep my muscle completely surrendered. That's about a 7, maybe even an 8. But if we go to a strong 8 or a 9 or a 10, the muscle is going to contract to protect. That is not going to get us very far. We want to work with a muscle that is vulnerable and pliable. We can manipulate it. So find a point, and you're going to look for a point that, and you have to sit on it for at least 20-30 seconds and start to see if that tender point that you feel that you're on, see if it's referring pain anywhere else. So I found a point that is referring pain up into my neck. Sometimes the trigger points in the levator scapula can cause pain in the eyeball or the eye area, the forehead. It can go up. It's remarkable. And all we need is time just to sit on that muscle and breathe. This is where you bring your breath in, that belly breath, and just breathe full, slow, relaxing inhales and exhales. And you're going to start feeling that number 7 slowly dropping down. When it gets to about a 2 or 3, go a little deeper. Don't find a new spot. Sink in a little bit deeper. There, at 6, 7, back. Breathe. Check in with your shoulder. Make sure it's nice and soft. Wait for it to relax. Sometimes it takes 30 seconds. Sometimes it takes 3 minutes. Everybody's different. There's no right or wrong or good or bad. Everybody's different. Some people have thicker fascia, and the fascia is this amazing network of dense connective tissue, and it wraps around all of our muscles, our bones, our tendons, our ligaments. They say we can take everything out of our body and just leave our fascia, and our body would still look the same. That's how much fascia we have. I usually explain to my clients, if you are vegetarian, this could be offensive, but I'm just going to say it because I really like to explain and have my clients understand. If you've ever cooked chicken and you take the skin off the chicken, you see this translucent whitish tissue, and it's almost like a sheath. Well, guess what? That's the fascia of the chicken. So basically, fascia is, we understand that it can hold physical, emotional trauma up to 50, 60 years. So when we're working on trigger points, we oftentimes will also engage our fascia and help the fascia release. So I hope you understand that. You can always replay, but the goal is to find those trigger points and maybe work about 10, 15 minutes. Once you know what it feels like working on yourself, then you can have fun with a friend and sort of see if you can find points with your family, your honey, your children. And it's really nice to practice on yourself first, because then you know what it feels like because you're in your body. I also want to show you this. This is a theracane. Ones in Hawaii are made out of bamboo, and they're called lomi lomi sticks. Those are the originals, I believe. This is made out of plastic, and I believe, or maybe actually a resin. It might be resin. So what we do with this, we find points. We find points on our back like this. And once you find a point, you hold it. You hold it. I have right now referral pain going up my spine, into my shoulder, a little bit into my upper arm. And I just basically want to breathe. And if you feel like you have stagnant energy and you really want to try to move out that energy quicker, Sound is an amazing tool to help move out stagnant energy. I don't ever tell my clients, oh, that's really bad, or oh, you look horrible. I actually wish that all doctors would never ever say anything like that. All chiropractors, all body workers, all people in the health field, that is one of the worst things to do with our clients, to tell them this is just all jacked up, because the mind is powerful and we sometimes can hold on to those memories and those messages, and all we want to really do is go, whoa, that is really intense, that is really gnarly, and I'm going to work on that and I'm going to move it out. So just really finding trigger points can change your life tremendously. It can help get rid of migraines. It can free up your range of motion. Some people come into the studio and they can only turn their head this much and it hurts. And when we're done doing a whole thoracic treatment, a whole neck treatment, their range of motion has sometimes increased that much. Okay, Theracane, awesome investment. Body mechanics. We are in this unusual time with COVID-19, and not only now, but in general, this is a really serious time in technology, the last 10 years or so. My buddy that is a optometrist, he tells me that his patients have increased by 50%, and he believes it's from the screen. So get your screen guards or your glasses, save your eyes from all the blue light and the screen. Check those out if you don't know what I'm talking about. They really help save damage to our eyeballs. And I have some friends that are not even 50 yet, and they work on the screen and they already need bifocals. That's really common these days. We're supposed to be outside and hunting and gathering. We're not supposed to be sitting at our desk doing this all day. Same thing. Or driving for 3 hours, though, every single day. All this, our bodies were made to move, and it feels good to move. And the more we become sedentary, the less circulation we have in our body. So, body mechanics. I think there might have been something I forgot to say, and if I come back to it, I'll listen to the video. I can always add it on Monday. Sunday's family day, and we're going to take a break, and I'll put the next video on Monday. So body mechanics. Basically, if you're at the computer, the worst thing to do is this. So if you're at the computer, if you can just set your computer up so that you're not looking down at your screen or not looking up, just to have it eye level. Same thing with the cell phone. If you can train yourself to hold your cell phone with this hand, a lot of people get rotator cuff injuries and rotator cuff issues, because, not injuries, but issues, by holding their phone up and lifting up this elbow. Really takes an impact. And really, this doesn't seem like much now, but when you do this over and over and over again, and more than 10 minutes a day, really hard on the rotator cuff. So bringing that elbow down, holding the cell phone up long ways, and then using this finger to type. A lot of this, people texting like this causes tendinitis, creates a lot of issues here. And it's just unbelievable what this chair is so noisy. Pardon my chair. So, okay, body mechanics. Just be mindful. When you're sitting down in your chair, if you always cross your right leg over your left, switch it up. Because what this does to the hips, when this right leg of mine is over my left, I'm actually throwing off my sit bones. Those are the butt bones. So if a little kid sits on your lap and you've ever had their butt bones dig into your leg and it hurts, those are the sit bones, the ischial tuberosities. And so basically we want those balanced. We want those bones balanced as much as possible. So the best way to sit is like this, but sometimes it's nice to cross. It feels good. We're like this. Just switch it up so that we're creating balance. If one of the worst things is like the worst thing, this is the hardest on the quadratus lumborum. So basically, our quadratus lumborum does this. And it is a major low back muscle. And that low back muscle has 3 attachment sites. It's a marvelous muscle. Most muscles only have 2 attachment sites. This muscle has 3, and it can cause havoc on our whole back and spine. It can travel up, throw off the shoulders. So if we're standing on our right side all the time and we are doing one of these things, and then we turn out this left foot here, basically we're training our quadratus lumborum, our major low back muscle, very deep, attaching to the 12th rib, the crest of the iliac, and then as well lumbar vertebrae. So basically we're shortening it every time we favor our right leg. So if you really want to be super mindful with your body, stand on both feet, preferably the feet hip lengths apart, and preferably not laterally rotated, not medially rotated, but straight ahead, feet straight ahead. When we laterally rotate, almost like a plie, like ballerinas when they do plies, that shortens a muscle called the piriformis, and that is the culprit for sciatica. We don't want tight butts, of course. Well, maybe we do. We don't want tight piriformises. Those are not happy muscles. Okay, now we are moving on. We are moving quick today. Okay, we are moving on now to the postural exercise. It's right up there with cat-cows. If you don't know what a cat-cow is, look it up. But basically, the postural exercise is magic if you take advantage of it. I'm going to teach you the postural exercise. You want to do it 3 times a day, 1 minute each, preferably 3 reps. So postural exercise 3 times in a row, 1 minute each. This is a corrector exercise and it's a preventer exercise. It can correct hunched over shoulders. It can correct lordosis. I don't know if you can see me, but I'm basically sticking my butt out. When we see a lot of women, actually, a lot of young girls, I'll see them sticking their butt out, and what that does is it shortens the back muscles and it overstretches these belly muscles, so it actually trains our body to have a weak belly, and eventually sticking the butt out turns into this. Now sometimes we see old people like that, or sometimes old people walk like this. I look really funny right now. So basically, here's the postural exercise. It is marvelous. It is the best. And I do it after I see my clients. And it helps me because I do a lot of work here. Everybody does. I mean, computer, cooking. Everybody that's using their body is, some people really work here. Carpenters, computer people, body workers, chiropractors, dentists. This is good for everybody. There is not one person it's not good for. Unless, you're in a body cast or you have an injury. That's contraindicated. But if we're always listening to our body and if we're always listening to our body and we are honoring our body, we usually won't hurt it. But if our body tells us it hurts, that is the best message to tell us, lay off, don't do it, modify. That is probably the best thing I could teach my children. So our feet, we're going to work from our feet up. Our feet are hip lengths apart, and we're going off of the inside of the hips, not the outside, but the inside. And that's usually your 2 fists. If you were to take your 2 fists and put them between your feet, that's your hip lengths apart. So We're going to spread our toes, make sure we're not favoring the outside or the inside of our feet. And we're just going to sort of check in with our breath, breathing in and out through the nose. I remember what I was going to say. Breathing. So when we, what was it? We're talking about the trigger points and the sound. When we find that trigger point, we're going back, we're rewinding really quick. When we find that trigger point, you can take a deep breath and on your exhale, add a sigh like this. You can really seriously get into it because sound is the pathway to help move out stagnant energy out of the body. In and out through the nose is great, but whenever you feel like you want to move out some energy, basically you're going to want to do a breath out of the mouth. Okay, now postural exercise. Here it is. You're going to stand hip lengths apart, and then you're going to spread those feet. Make sure you're not favoring the outside or the inside of the feet. You're going to check in with your body. Make sure that you're breathing, your shoulders are soft, your breaths are belly breaths, not shallow breaths, and you're just relaxed. Here, not thinking about anybody else or anything else, right here. You're going to check in with your knees. Your legs are straight, but your knees are not locked. You're going to squeeze your butt with about 20% of your strength, maybe no more than 50. Then you're going to visualize your belly button pulling in towards the front of the spine. Then you're going to draw your shoulders back, and you're going to gently press them down, engaging the serratus. And then you're going to tuck your chin. And I'm going to come a little bit closer so you can see what my chin is doing. So the chin, if I had a forward head, it would look like this. I'm making a double chin, but really also, you know you're doing it right if you feel traction between your cervical vertebrae. Your cervical vertebrae are the vertebrae in your neck. And you're going to hold that for 1 minute. I'm sure you could, I don't know if we learned postural exercise in medical massage years ago. It's mind-blowing. I haven't ever seen anybody do it exactly like that, but just keep replaying until you get it. You know you're doing it right when it's difficult, and when you feel that traction, it's almost as though if you had your angel and it were to take a thick bunch of hair and pull it up towards the sky, you would feel that opening in your neck. The neck is the hardest thing to get. But the shoulders, I want you to see the shoulders. The shoulders go back and they stay squeezing back. So you're bringing your scapulas together. And then during that, you then gently press down. It is not easy. Okay, I'm so happy to share these tools with you. And we're at 23 minutes. That is unbelievable. I thought this was going to be the shorter session. And because of time, I don't want to bore you, but we'll take a short moment of silence in honor of all that is good, all that is great, raising the vibration across our world. Thank you, and aloha. Aloha for now.